All right, so for this question, remember you want to be very careful. You have a variable here of x squared times another variable expression of e to the 5x. Again, this is x squared times e to the 5x. Variable expression times another variable expression means that we need to use the product rule. So using the product rule, we are going to plug in here as x squared e to the 5x as the second function. The derivative of x squared will simply just be 2x. And then our e to the 5x, remember it is something besides just x. There is an inner function there. So we are going to use our e to the u times u prime rule. So this will become e to the 5x and then times the derivative of 5x, which just gives us 5. Now, of course, for simplicity, we want to put the 5 in front, so it will be 5e to the 5x. Now, plugging into our product rule, we'll take our 2x times our e to the 5x. Now, you'll notice here that this is one term times one term. And so we are going to plug in with parentheses. However, we don't really need those parentheses because it's one term times one term. One thing that I do want you to get into the habit of doing is always put the e to the power last. This will simply help with the arithmetic of putting the coefficient in the front of the term. So I'm going to multiply this diagonal together, but I'm going to write it as parentheses 2x first and then the e to the 5x so that that e is last and my coefficient is first. And then I have plus this diagonal. Again, same thing here. We have x squared and then 5e to the 5x. And the only stipulation that you need here is you need to have the coefficients first. You'll also notice that here you have one term times one term, so you can drop those parentheses. You do not need the parentheses. So this will be 2x e to the 5x. And then the same thing over here, it is one term of x squared times one term. And so you can drop those parentheses, but we do want to move this coefficient of 5 to the front. So that will become 5x squared e to the 5x. And I do want to just mention very briefly, you could factor out a GCF. The GCF would be, in this case, x e to the 5x. That is not necessary for the homework software. However, I want to go through this really quickly. This is your final answer. They will give you full credit for that. However, if you factor out a GCF, what you will be doing is dividing both of these terms by the x e to the 5x, x e to the 5x. And that will then give you your y prime as 2, x's cross, e to the 5x's cross. And then, of course, we're going to have our GCF first, so x e to the 5x. And then what's left over will be our 2 and then plus 5, and then the x squared over x will just give us x, and the e to the 5x will cross out as well. So either of those answers are fine. Again, I'll rewrite them here, factoring out the GCF, or keeping it without the GCF factored, where you just have 2x e to the 5x plus 5x squared e to the 5x. Another thing that I want to mention is that the order that you write the x and the e technically does not matter, but the standard is to put the e at the end in order to keep things straight.